So I have 2 cats. I'm good with 2. 2 cats is fine. 2 cats is a perfectly acceptable number of cats. You have the one, and then you have a friend for that one. However, and I don't want to go into too many details because it's kind of depressing, but I have a close relative who is not well. And this person has a cat that they can no longer care for. And it is 100% on me to figure out what to do with this cat. And thus far, the options at my disposal essentially are that I take this cat back to the shelter that it was adopted from 3 years ago, or I keep the cat. And there is a significant difference in my mind between saying, if you don't take this cat, someone will take it to the shelter, and saying, if you don't take this cat, you will take the cat to the shelter.
Well, needless to say, SpaghettiOs.
So, of course, I am now housing a 3rd cat. I didn't really want a 3rd cat. Like, I've never wanted to have 3 cats. I'm very hesitant about it for 2 main reasons. The first being that 3 just feels like a lot of cats to me. And I don't know if their personalities will all mesh. And I don't even really know if I can adequately take care of that many cats. And secondly, there is the stigma of the crazy cat lady. It is difficult to pinpoint exactly how the stigma started and how it ultimately developed into the classic Eleanor Abernathy who we see on The Simpsons. Many people theorize that the crazy cat lady idea stemmed from the Middle Ages belief that cats were a witch's familiar.
Yeah, I'm making s'mores. Smart poison for Emperor Larry.
For example, in the 1606 Shakespeare play, Macbeth, the 3 witches have a feline familiar named Graymalkin who helps them look into the future. In the 1300s in Europe, Christians killed cats en masse. This is because Pope Gregory IX believed that cats were associated with the devil. And this mass killing of cats is commonly believed to have led to the surplus of rats that caused the Black Death. However, scholars debate the actuality of this, considering that the bubonic plague was more likely to spread from person to person than from rats to people.
The Black Plague will rise again, spreading round town and finding men. Hallelujah! Black Plague will rise.
But anyway, in addition to being associated with witches and paganism, cats also have a strong association with pre-Christian religions. For example, the Egyptians worshipped Bastet, the cat goddess, and Freya, the Norse goddess of beauty and sexuality, had a chariot that was pulled by 2 cats. So there is a long history between cats and women that are deemed evil by the Catholic Church. And so this seems to have developed into the modern day stereotype known as the crazy cat lady. Typically an unmarried woman living alone, unloved, childless, filling the void in her life with affection for these weird tiny monsters.
I'm a little burnt out, so sometimes, don't shoot me, I have a glass of wine with Buster here.
Showing a woman with cats has become sort of a visual shorthand in media for showing a woman who is not normal, for showing someone who exists on the fringes of or outside of common society.
The cats.
They know that I've broken up with Jason and that I'm alone, and they've decided it's time for me to become a crazy cat lady.
Clearly.
Oh my God!
What?
There are two of them. They're not even easing me into this, those bastards.
But, like many examples of visual shorthand, this is technically inaccurate. Like, if you think about it, a movie that starts with a dark and stormy night gives you the expectation that something spooky is about to happen. But it storms at night, like, all the time, especially in the summer. And those nights pass without incident. And in movies, if two people bump into each other in a coffee shop, then they're probably soulmates. That doesn't happen. The other factor that likely helped facilitate this stereotype is cat hoarding. While people have domesticated animals throughout much of human history, the idea of having a household pet is fairly new within the past couple hundred years. Having a pet used to be limited to just the aristocracy. When you have so many people in a society living hand to mouth, only the very rich could willingly afford to add more non-human, non-working mouths to feed. Or as my Polish grandfather used to say, useless animals. As expendable income increased, so did the desire for a household pet. Through the laws of supply and demand, this led to the creation of the pet industry. And an increase in animal breeders led to an increase in strays and rescues and just a general surplus of domesticated animals. Enter animal hoarding. The desire to hoard stems from something that's happening psychologically. I'm not a therapist, but there are likely several different impulses that lead to this. It's definitely a condition that requires a lot of patience and treatment. But some people just really latch on to the idea of owning animals. And this generally stems from a positive intention. These people usually believe that they are helping these animals and that they are giving them a home and that they are caring for them. Although the more animals that they acquire, the more misguided this belief becomes.
The Houston SPCA staff is rescuing cats that have been kept inside in deplorable conditions.
Now, hoarding dogs is difficult. It happens, certainly, especially with small dogs. But in general, dogs are louder, they need to be taken outside. Some places require a dog license. But cats can sort of fly under the radar. Like, you can walk past a house with 27 cats inside and just never know.
On the 18th floor of this North York building, 300 cats were living in one small unit.
I do take issue with the idea that any woman with a cat is just automatically some sort of spinster who wants to do nothing more than stay at home and needlepoint on a Saturday night. Because in pre-pandemic times, actually in pre-pandemic times when I still lived in a major city, and I would go out on the weekend with a group of girls, it would be the girls with dogs who would have to duck out and head home early to take care of their pets. And the girls with cats were fine. We were the ones being like, yeah, let's go dancing after this and stay out all night.
You know what, Charlie? You're my only friend.
For me, I do like all animals, and I would love to have a dog, but cats just work better with my lifestyle because, again, during non-pandemic times, I really like to travel. And if you have a dog, it's more difficult and it's more expensive because you either have to board the dog or you have to pay a dog sitter to come to your home, or at the very least have someone come by 3 times a day to walk the dog. Whereas with cats, it's fine. I just have a cat sitter come every other day and check on them. And then with 2, the older one gets a little bit less stressed out when I'm gone for long periods of time. So it works. But 3 cats? Even though I just broke down the stigma for you, I am still very susceptible to societal pressure.
Hey, aren't you that crazy cat lady?
Yes, I am. But thanks to this psychoactive medication, I enjoy brief moments of lucidity.
Those are just Reese's Pieces.
3 just feels like so many cats. And like 3 cats could easily overpower me and assume control of the household. Like 2 cats I could take in a fight, but I don't think I could take on 3. Like, not if they got organized. Realistically, I doubt that many people would have that terribly different of a reaction to me saying I have 3 cats versus saying I have 2 cats. Like, probably for many people, the sanity ship sailed after 2. But if someone did scoff at 3 who wouldn't have scoffed at 2, I guess I can just be like, this one belonged to a woman with dementia who fell down the stairs. Don't you feel guilty? Tell me in the comments if you have a cat, and also tell me the cat's name and a humorous anecdote. And since we can't post pictures in YouTube comments, you will need to describe your cat to me in ideally the same way that a woman describes their own appearance in self-insert fan fiction or in a Babysitter's Club novel.
Don't worry, I'm a crazy cat lady too.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go do some witchcraft and needlepoint. At one point, I was asking myself what I would do if there was a fire. Like, I was very stressed out because if I had 3 cats and only 2 arms, who would I save? And then I realized that I know the answer. I would use both arms to save Graham. I have to tell you that normally when I film videos, you can hear the little jingle of cat collar bells in the background because for some reason they just love to be around me when I'm doing this. They just hear me talking and think that I'm talking to them. But now I'm filming a video about cats and I want to like hold them up and be like, look at this. But they are just fast asleep. They are nowhere to be found. And this never happens. Jerks.